We've seen growth coming in from new listings coming through from a strong capital markets baseline in 2020 and 2021. So we increased the availability of more tradable instruments, along with COVID time with retail being much stronger. Where we continue to see the growth now in the last year or so is really been in the short-dated space, where we've had obviously not only the first 3 short-dated, but also the additional 5 that came due last November, where we included Wednesday options as a tradable instrument in the US options market.
NYSE's Pillar has rolled out. How are you optimizing tech across the NYSE?
Pillar was a large effort for us internally to be able to move our entire exchange over to a new trading system, all while keeping the existing one up and running. So that 1 week of transition was a feat, but it was successful and smooth. And we thank our members and our partners for testing early and often and coming in to test with us. Now that we're post that migration in end of October of last year for Amex, one of the things that's really interesting for us is we've done a ton of research around how our latency profiles shifted and how our order flows has shifted since that point in time. And what we actually see is a 2/3 reduction in latency on Amex from the previous platform to Pillar. So Pillar delivers a stronger, lower latency platform. And we've also seen that translate into market share. So we're actually seeing 150 basis points on average of new share that's come on to Amex post-Pillar migration. We never stop moving. We never stop, making sure that we're providing for our members and our technology. And so we actually have a handful of new enhancements coming in May that will improve reduce our latencies in our tails, and then also providing new optimized bulk cancel and quote path for our market makers. And I should say we just followed that with last week introducing a new order type to both Amex and ARCA for customer-to-customer cross. So we are delivering new product. We're consistently optimizing our trading system for reducing latency and helping our members be able to have a more deterministic experience on our platform.
How is Pillar different from the previous systems that it replaced?
The biggest difference is that it's a single code base across all 5 of our equity markets and now our 2 options markets. So it's the same exact interface from an engagement standpoint. So if a customer or a market maker were looking to engage with ARCA equities and ARCA options, they can do that and translate it in the same common code base. Separate sessions, because there's 2 separate markets, but basically the same code base provides us scalability. So when we roll out new products that we can exercise across our equities and options platform, we can easily do that across both. And our testing has also heavily integrated as well. So we can do a lot of what we call playback testing to ensure that what we're developing is actually going to be exactly what you're going to be seeing in the markets once we do roll it out. And that goes across markets as well.
If you invited Chairman Gensler to dinner, what would you like to say to him?
The U.S. equity markets are the strongest markets in the world. The U.S. options markets have grown extremely strong in the last few years based on a lot of the growth that we just talked about. I would say that when we look at that new growth and where we've gone and explored sort of diversity across our members and diversity across members coming in and trading on our not only exchanges, but in our markets, everybody's evolved. Our risk controls as exchange sport level has increased over time. Our market makers who provide liquidity in our markets have enhanced risk controls as well. We continue to evolve all of the components within the entire ecosystem. Workflows are getting systematized and enhanced. Every turn across our sort of next quarter, next year, and as we continue looking at the future, we continue to evolve in a very strong way. And that's playing out in the markets, right? We can see that in the markets, the growth that we're seeing across the options markets, as well as the strength and the certainty that you're getting in the equities markets. So I would say to Chairman Gensler, if he were to be at a dinner, is to say, I would want to make sure that we look at these things more broadly because our members and our markets are very transparent and efficient today. We don't want to introduce something that could potentially inadvertently affect that without understanding which change is going to affect that. So slowly moving into a new regime, it would be ideal, would be how I would like to be able to discuss changes from the SEC perspective.
What trends are you seeing with the rise of volume and 0DTE option trading?
All the short-dated options that just came to market have a 15-day life cycle. So they're entered in today, and you can trade them in the markets today, and they have roughly 15 days until they expire. What we're seeing is the actual participation in those strikes are the greatest the day or two before the actual expiration date. So even though they're available to trade, the significance of the point of trade of expiration is significantly more in those Wednesday options for those 5 ETFs, as well as the daily ones for SPYs and Qs. SPYs and Qs have roughly over 50% of their volume in the individual daily strikes and series. So that has been a big shift as well from a trend standpoint. And then IWM is just added Tuesdays and Thursdays recently as well. So now IWMs will come into the mix of those tradable instruments being available for people to trade. I don't worry about the strike listings. They're really a small footprint of the number of series being added to the overall list of series that are tradable. So I don't worry about those. I do worry that the quote traffic overall is slowly increasing, and the rate of acceleration has increased significantly in the fourth quarter of last year. It's kind of come back and stabilized so far this year. But if we start seeing that pick up more so from a quote traffic and a messaging traffic perspective, it just becomes a larger worry overall across all the exchanges and the markets to ensure that we have a really stable, robust market for our investors.
What have you heard about the potential for Bitcoin ETF options being approved?
The natural evolution, as a previous trader and other traders have asked, is when can we trade options on those? Because they fall into the commodity category. We have gone through our exchange, NYSE, has gone through a process to file with SEC the ability to request to list Bitcoin options on our exchanges, as well as other competitive exchanges too. With that process, there's a secondary one with the OCC to ensure that they will be able to be clearing them. So that's with the OCC now. They're going through their process. The exchanges are going through our own individual process with the SEC. But we do think from the market standpoint, that would be a very positive move, and something that I think the investor profile is set up strongly to support.
What are the opportunities in the UK for the US options markets?
Because of the growth in the US options market, that we've had a lot more interest coming from UK, Europe, Asia, LATAM, coming into wanting to trade the US options markets. So we're proactively getting out there and talking about US options market structure across the globe. Our teams have been actively doing that for the last 2 years. So what we're seeing now is actually US option broker-dealers have an opportunity to be able to engage with these investors, to be able to trade, to have them trade with their trading capabilities into the exchanges. The interest is there. So we're really excited that the US options market growth is a big story, and it's a very efficient market, as we talked about. So the fact that we are actually getting a global interest into the US options space is an area that we're highly focused on at NYSE. We explain how our market structure works. There are 17 exchanges currently. They may not know the nuances between the two different market models. They may not know the understanding of how things are engaged and the fact that we have short-dated options. So it's up to all of us to ensure that we continue to provide education to new entrants to the markets. And I think our industry has done a really good job. The OIC does a really good job. So it's been a very important part of the growth of our markets and the strength of our markets, making sure people are comfortable.